Okay. I can go back to what I was doing, which is making lizard scales. I don't know if I have to score them or not. So I'll try with a score and without and see which one's easier. I use a pin in the top of my, I think that's too much glue. And I want this part flat. So I think I just glue the tip. I can try it without scoring and see if that makes it easier. I think so. So I cut these out on my Cricut. They're 65-pound cardstock. I pre-painted them on one side only for now. I think I just put glue in the bottom half. So after these are glued, I'll drop some paint on the back side. And seal them. Because I always use white cardstock so you can see the core of the cardstock is white, so you have to paint the edges, which I'm going to hand paint these anyway. So usually I've never made these scales before, so usually it takes me a bit to figure out the best assembly system. I think I found it now. This is part of my concept series for patterns in nature, how I see the world. I'm neurodivergent, so patterns kind of scream at me in nature, and so I thought I would do a whole concept art series highlighting that. Sometimes I cut stuff by hand, but these were cut on my Cricut. These don't have to be perfect because it's nature. These are the small ones. I have different sizes, so basically I just put 2 coats of paint on these guys before I cut them, just because it's easier. It makes them stiffer. The folds aren't perfect, but it's not going to matter too much. So often when I design, I just use painter's tape or glue and then scissors and paper, and sometimes I even just tear the paper as I quickly try to figure out how to work a shape. Because these blue lizard scales, they have this spike at the end, so that's why I'm making like this. And then I'll attach them. I've been attaching these scales to vellum just because it's plasticized and sturdier as a base, but I'm actually going to be sewing these in place. which is a new technique for me, but I feel like it'll work well for this because I did fish scales and I attached them without glue in a different way, but I want to try both ways and just see, because I was limited by putting slits and slipping them into place. I felt limited by not being able to get as many variations in the pattern as I wanted, so I'm going to try sewing these. So I'm pretty happy with how they look. Probably pretty boring to watch me assemble these, I don't know. I find this kind of work meditative, and because I'm neurodivergent, I can hyperfocus for a really long time. It's my first time using scales that have kind of a 3D shape, so I don't even know how they're going to sit on each other. I'm not too worried about the glue because when these get painted, they're final hand painted, cut, they'll be really sturdy with the paint. So I'm more worried about just kind of tacking it in place. So I might not go live for this whole thing because that'd be incredibly boring. I have cups and cups of these to do, different sizes. I'm doing the smallest first, just because that one has the most, and then I always do the hardest thing first. Some people do the hardest thing at the end. I like to do it first and get it out of the way. The life of a paper artist is pretty boring. So what happens is these sit on each other. I think it's going to work. If it doesn't work, well, then I learned something. They kind of remind me of stingrays. A lot of the nature patterns I've been doing have been inspired by nature that I see here. I'm on the west coast of Canada, right next to the Pacific Ocean. So I'm working on a sea urchin, honeycomb, goldfish, ferns, shells, mushrooms, and feathers, chicken feathers to be exact. So I'll probably switch over to time lapse for this because it's pretty boring to watch me do this, probably. Or meditative, let's just call it that. If I do a time lapse, then I can listen to music really loud. I'm going to probably fold a bunch of these and then glue them. I think that's going to go easier. If you have questions about paper art or paper sculpture, you can message me. I'll share what I know. I'm not a blogger. Oh, I forgot I was going to wait to glue these. Oh well. I could have done the angle better now that I'm looking at it, but that's why I do these concept pieces. Sometimes you don't know until you don't know. So sometimes you have to try and fail. Okay. I'll shut this off today. Switch into time-lapse mode so I can listen to some 90s gangster rap. See you later.